To be or not to be? I think we all know this famous line from Shakespeare Hamlet. You may be wondering why we're talking about Hamlet in poetry, but because it was written in a poetic verse. But before we discuss different form of poetry, let's answer this question. What is poetry? Poetry is a literary work in which the expression of feelings and ideas are given intensity by the use of distinctive style and rhythm. The word poetry comes from the Greek word poiesis, which means to make. In other words, poetry allowed us to unite our thoughts and feelings to a defined line, giving them different meaning and purposes. Poetry has been around us for thousands of years. It used to be spoken, not written, and followed by music and dances, but then it was transformed into written words. Still, written poems keep that rhythm and harmony that gives them specific meaning and role in the author's and reader's mind. Before writing your poem, it's important to understand its specifics. While our favorite novels are written in sentence and paragraph without rhythm, poetry is like a song, melodic, rhythmic, and written in lines, stimulating our emotion and thoughts by connecting and using carefully chosen words. Poems have always had an important cultural role. In ancient Greece, the main subject of poems were war and peace, politics, but also gods, death, and love. In Japan, on the other hand, poems have an important role in expressing one's emotion, and also a declaration of love to the people closest to you. That is why the content, meaning, and the main idea of poem differ from culture to culture, but also from person to person. But why though? Because you all have different attitudes, characters, writing style, and the way giving meaning to certain words. Each of us carry a culture inside ourselves, and your poem is a reflection of that culture. The poem, as a special creative expression, is a reflection of how we see the world transform into words and metaphors. Metaphors are a way we express how we see the world we live in. When someone say, "He broke my heart," we know someone got hurt by a special person, but using that phrase demonstrate his or her feeling more clearly. It's quite similar to poem, but the meaning is much harder to interpret. Why? Because the interpretation depends on the context, the main idea of a poem, the author's background, culture, and languages as well. What do you think the line "I saw the storm coming" means? What is the storm? Is it a storm? Or maybe a problem, a person, a fight, or even death? It depends on the author. The term storms reflect both the subject and the feeling of the author towards it. While writing a poem, think about your subject and the emotion and attitudes you have towards it. Write down the word and try to find the metaphor that can best describe them. Be creative and think outside the box. Poem is a reflection of your perspective on a certain situation, people, cultures, or ideas. It's a way of communicating your thoughts and emotion to your reader. While writing, ask yourself, what does this mean to me? And write whatever's come to mind. There are really no wrong answers.